Welcome to r/MaliciousCompliance, where we share stories of people conforming to the letter, but not the spirit of a request. Thank you, friends, for subscribing to the channel, and for so many likes. The first story. My micromanaging team leader wanted me to do 2 jobs in one, even though it was against our client's direct instructions. The second story. Union worker tries 3 times to complain I made a mistake. The third story. A guy took advantage of the billing by acting like a jerk every 6 months, so I called his bluff. The first story is peeved off the manager by following the rules. This was years ago when I worked at a call center for a cell phone company working customer service. We were an inbound call center for customer service. On the floor, there were several teams of like 10 to 20 people each with a team lead. There was this one team lead who was always trying to overperform to get her manager's favor. They get bonuses for certain things, and the better her team did, the more she would make. I hated this manager. Let's call her Shirley. Shirley was always trying to get us to do stuff beyond the job description to try to impress her boss. She always insisted on blasting SH music right next to our cubicles to try to get us hype. Our job was to answer phone calls, and it made it very hard to have to try to hear customers with this music blasting. She also would be constantly shouting out metrics and just losing it when someone got a sale. It made it very distracting. My job was just a simple customer service rep answering phones. Shirley was kind of like the main boss's pet. She could get away with doing things different because she always whipped her team into overperforming and was very strict on the team to perform. She's the type of boss who would be staring over your shoulder, breathing down your neck, watching everything you're doing, and criticizing every move. This was very patronizing to me as I was a top performer. I did not need to be babysat and corralled around. I knew how to do the job. I was put on her team at one point. She was driving us hard, making us do crazy things to try to get sales or improve various metrics, micromanaging the living SH out of us. I put up with most of it because I needed that job at the time. But one day she pushed me too hard. We were general customer service, so we handled billing issues, new service, account maintenance, etc. If you ever worked in a call center, you know there are a bunch of departments. We didn't handle cancellations because this was the department retention's job. If a customer ever threatened to cancel, switch providers, or started mentioning other providers' deals, we were to transfer them immediately to retention. Retention was specially trained to try to curb cancellations. They were a higher-level department than customer service and had special deals, discounts, and promotions to try to work with upset customers looking to cancel to keep them. As customer service, one of our metrics is transfers. Keeps tabs on how many times each employee sent a transfer to another department. Getting too many of these looked bad, but sometimes was unavoidable. We're trained to own the call, to try to prevent transfers and resolve the customer's issues on your call, but certain situations are beyond the scope of my job. I simply don't have the tools to effectively do some things, such as retain customers and curb churn. Shirley wasn't having this though. I guess the team's transfers were high or something, but one call she was plugged into my headset listening as I worked. Customer calls in super irate, peeved about his billing. I'm trying to work the call and review his account and discuss options, but nothing we can offer is satisfactory. He's threatening to go to another provider, which will get him a way better deal and pay off his cancellation fees. At this point, per our manual from the cell phone company itself, I was to immediately transfer this customer to retention in order to try to save his business. They had better deals than I was able to give, and it explicitly states in our manual and rulebook to transfer them as soon as they mention cancellation. Well, where I worked at, we did not work directly for the cell phone company itself. We were a third-party company who was contracted to do work for the cell phone company as our client. As such, part of the contract, the cell phone company provides us an online manual on how to handle situations and what we're supposed to be doing. If we're found to be not in compliance with how the client wants us to handle situations, it could be terms for cancellation of the contract. This was a very big deal because if the site lost the client's contract, it means everyone working that call center would be out of a job. So this customer is cussing and yelling at me about canceling his service. Shirley mutes my phone and is telling me not to transfer his call. She wants me to go above and beyond and do another department's job that I wasn't trained in. Didn't have access to their deals or resources. Shirley used to work in retention and was saying she could show me how to handle this and save the customer and not get a transfer. I don't make enough to be doing 2 departments roles in one. F this. Plus, this customer was cussing me out. I'm done trying. I unmute the call and tell the customer I'm transferring him and transfer him to retention. Shirley loses it, freaks out, storms off into her manager's office determined to write me up for non-compliance. A few hours later, I get the notice that she's written me up, and I get the email to confirm my write-up for refusing to listen to her. F this. I did exactly as our rulebook states. I don't sign it. She threatens me by saying we'll be having a meeting with HR by the end of the day because I didn't sign it. We get into HR, and they're pulling up the write-up and we're talking about it. Shirley is in the meeting with us, thinking I'm about to get fired. I always stood up for my rights and would challenge a lot of her questionable tactics she used as a team lead. She was excited it was the day she was going to get rid of me, so she thought. Well, HR is reviewing the situation. HR lady. Well, in most instances, we review the write-up and compare it to what policy is. Shirley. He was disobedient and needs to be punished. He directly disobeyed my directions and transferred a call when I told him not to. Me. Per our rulebook provided by the client themselves, it specifically states to immediately transfer the caller in this situation. You can find the policy on XYZ page. HR lady. The client specifically stated to transfer, and this is per policy. Since he followed policy to a T, we cannot do anything here. We're dismissing this write-up. Shirley then got a talking to from HR about compliance with the client's wishes and how disrespecting this could cost the site their contract and everyone's job. Satisfying, to say the least. She backed down and stopped messing with me after that, until I eventually got to transfer into another team. The second story is, you need me to explain how I did not make a mistake a third time? You got it. I've worked at the post office for just under 2 years. My admin job is union, albeit a smaller, weaker one, and the postal workers have this massive, stronger union where everything that could possibly be considered a mistake turns into a grievance. My job involved bidding on assignments. These are temporary assignments to backfill people on extended sick leave, which with COVID got way busier. When bidding for other things, vacation, different shifts or schedules and transfers, it's all about seniority. Whoever's been with the Postal Service the longest wins. There are a few positions where you have to prove you can do the specialized work, but most of it is just planned seniority. Getting seniority dates accurate and updated is crucial. We rely on them being accurate, but guess what? My team can't change them. It's the union and HR, and boy, they sure do like to take their sweet time. Anywho, recently we had a bidding for a whack of different positions, but it's not about plain seniority wins. The rules discussed and agreed upon with the union was people within the same section, regardless of shift, get first dibs at the positions in seniority order, of course. Then when all the section people's bids are considered, then postal workers outside the section get consideration, in seniority order, of course. Because of this extra caveat, I have to do things differently than others on my team and pay extra attention to where these people are by section, based on what's in the system and not whatever they feel like writing on the bid. They even take liberties with their seniority date, and heaven forbid they know their rank. Number used when 2 workers have the same seniority date. I only do this bid every other month because it's time-consuming to get it right, give everyone available a viable chance, get the paperwork to HR for payroll and schedule changes, give the workers and their supervisors notice, etc. Plus, people are constantly coming and going, affecting these assignments. COVID has made my job a lot harder, and with working remotely after being shoved into the 21st century, being afraid of catching COVID at the plant when I do go in because it's had 2 outbreaks and mask wearing is a joke there, helping the kids with virtual school, and general pandemic fatigue. I managed to avoid any bypasses this round by sheer perseverance and exhaustion, yet this one employee felt like I bypassed them and told their supervisor. Supervisor did the right thing by emailing me the concern and asking for a consideration. I looked into the matter and saw that while they had higher seniority than 2 workers who were awarded assignments, this worker was out of the section, so seniority was not priority for winning over the 2 who won. I laid out the scenario, attached the rules, and let the supervisor know to tell the worker no bypass occurred. The very next day, I get a local union rep catch me while at the office, asking about the same worker's same concern. I tell them I had the supervisor ask me already, and explain the above. Rep leaves satisfied. Then 2 days after that, my second last day on the job, my supervisor forwards me an email from the union local president for the same D worker. Cue malicious compliance. I used to just email the answer to my boss to reply, but decided to save us all time. I emailed the local's union president that my boss forwarded me their inquiry, that the worker also asked their supervisor already too and they got an answer. Copied the supervisor. I reattach the rules for them, remind them that the rules are posted in a glass case next to the bid posters and results, that the rules are agreed upon by the union's local reps, and I personally had a follow-up with a rep regarding questions. Clerks like me never talk to the union without my boss, but I earned the right to because I know how to keep my mouth shut. I attach a copy of the worker's bid since I scan all the bids that get considered and overlooked. I lay out what assignments the worker bid for. I stated the seniority date of all the people who won bids the workers tried for that have higher seniority, and the one that had lower seniority was in the same section as the position being bid for, but the complaining worker was outside the section, so seniority did not help. Lastly, I confirmed the worker's seniority date as it's listed in the system because we can only use what's in the computer. Like I said, if there's a problem with the date, take it up with the union and HR. I end with this. Fortunately, there's no bypass, as more junior and section workers are entitled to the assignment before more senior out of section, in this case, workers section. Please let the member know this, and we encourage them to continue to bid for future assignments. For those interested, my new job pays 25% more, plus better benefits, better industry. Letter mail is really not in demand. And while it's not as close to home, non-union, and probably more work than the job I'm leaving, I was experiencing workplace harassment, bullying, and my boss was ineffective at his job in supporting me. The last story is, I'd be happy to cancel your account. You call Dish Network customer service and get so mad at the agent that you scream, I want to cancel my account, and they transfer you to another representative. I used to be that guy. It's not as fun of a job as one might expect. What with 99% of the callers screaming at you for any number of reasons that you had no control over. So you had to find a way to keep yourself sane. I stayed near or at the top of the stats leaderboard for customers saved, so I could pull crap like this. One day, a representative had a caller who only gave him enough information to pull up his account and told him that he wanted to cancel his account. So I pulled up the customer's account and saw he'd been a customer for 8+ years, which meant he was practically VIP. But I pulled up his billing info and saw that for at least the previous 2 years, oldest records I had access to, he'd been receiving $25 off his bill every month. The amount you could discount the bill also determined how long the discount lasted. $25 only went for 6 months, so he had called in at least 4 times before this demanding to cancel his account until he got his $25 off. Now, I'm a man of principle, and I don't believe a person should get rewarded for being a crappy person. So I accept the transfer, and this guy came on the phone with the TV playing in the background and being a jerk, but also sounding almost bored with the game, and says cancel my account. Dish approved response. I'm sorry to hear you want to cancel your account. Can I ask why you're thinking of leaving? Get a reason, make 2 offers to keep them around, then cancel if they still aren't willing to stick around. My response, I'd be happy to cancel your account. Clicked a couple buttons and his TV went absolutely silent. Then I proceeded to read the script they give us on how to return the equipment until he shouted over me asking what I just did. I canceled your account per your request, sir. The boxes will arrive in 7 to 10 business days. Again, dude's outraged, demanding I turn his TV back on. I'm sorry, sir, I don't understand. Do you want me to cancel your account or not? Because I can turn it back on, but I won't give you a discount off your bill, and I'll be leaving clearing notes for any future representatives telling them not to give you a discount either. So would you like me to reactivate your account, or would you rather I send out the boxes? As I expected, he told me to turn it back on. At the end, he tried again to get some sort of discount, which I refused, and offered to downgrade his account if he wanted to save money, which he refused and hung up in frustration. If I could have kept tabs on him, I would have, because I was curious if anyone would reapply the discount or if he would leave. A bonus is I still had a few more confirmations to go through before the account was actually considered canceled, so the call counted as a save for my stats. I hope you love these stories. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to know when the new videos come out.